all across the fantasy universe. Welcome in, everybody, to Ask Guru Anything, powered by fantasypoints.com. What's up, everybody? I'm your boy, Brian Drake, Drake Fantasy on Twitter, hanging with the guru, the publisher of fantasypoints.com, Mr. John Hansen. John, I got a feeling you're not in your normal everyday studio here. Your background's a little different. What's going on, my friend?
Same old this time of the year, Brian. I'm hearing from people I haven't seen face to face in 29 years. People I went to high school with needing fantasy advice. Just par for the course. It's just living the dream. But I am ready to get this damn season underway. I think we know about as much as we're going to know. And I also think we're a little in the dark this year. I think it's going to be a little chaotic at running back in particular.
No question. And we'll hop right into it with the news of the day on Jonathan Taylor. Everybody's asking, was he going to get traded? If he doesn't, where do I draft him? Well, he didn't get traded. He's still on the Indianapolis Colts, but he's on the PUP list. So, Guru, he's going to miss the first 4 weeks of the season now. How do you talk to people who have drafts this week? And I know I'm one of them. People have been coming to me. Same thing. Guys from your middle school gym class. Hey, I got a draft. You got a cheat sheet? What do you do with Jonathan Taylor? Because he's going to miss a month. And follow that up. Who do we maybe pick up, if anybody? Evan Hull, Deion Jackson in this Indy backfield. What are you doing with JT?
Well, I will answer that. It depends on who you're drafting against. If it's a room of competent people or better, forget it. I would say that. I mean, because this thing has been, and I've said this, I did say and write that, I thought there was probably a better than 50-50 chance that something would happen. It was just my gut instinct on it. And the reason I had that gut instinct is because I felt like this freaking thing is weird and it's gotten really bad. So I'm like, it's got to happen because I don't know. I don't think we've ever seen this type of conflict, if you will. I think we are in, uncharted territory in a lot of ways with the running back position and all that. So, I think Jonathan Taylor, as I've said, is a different dude. He's a very intellectual guy. Could have been a Ivy League guy. Jim Irsay, also a different cat. This dude, he's like a mummy, this guy. He's like a gargoyle, this guy. So we have no idea what this guy's capable of. For all we know, and he had something to do with Andrew Luck calling it a career. I mean, this guy might be a career ender, this Jim Irsay. So I'm pretty pissed about that. I feel like Jonathan Taylor is one of the best role models in sports. The guy's bringing it, and you're treating him poorly. I think it's pretty clear right now. So maybe Jonathan Taylor takes a stand here. I mean, if there's any running back in the NFL that I think could do it and might be inclined to do it, it is Jonathan Taylor, which is why I've had this really bad overall vibe all along.
Yeah, it's tough with JT. And if you're in a home league this weekend, like I said, I don't know. I'm not taking this guy in the first 3 rounds. You're going to get not a zero. You're going to draft somebody else, but he's going to plug up your roster for 4 weeks. Do you have any interest in Evan Hull or Deion Jackson?
No, because Zach Moss, they're saying already has a chance to be available week 1. I have said all along, by the way, I've said all along on Evan Hull that this is the least gurific, sexy guy, but I'm like, you watch, he's going to probably go to a team where the starter gets hurt, then the backup gets hurt, and it's like, oh, we've got to use 7th rounder Evan Hull out of Northwestern and watch him just compile solid stats. So if let's say there's no Jonathan Taylor, who would I bet for the entirety of the season? Evan Hull. And I've said that, like I said, from the beginning. Am I interested? No, because you can't count on him early. It'll be Moss and Deion Jackson, I guess. So I think it's an avoid. I mean, I don't think it's a cop-out to say, screw it, just avoid it. And it's a buzzkill for Anthony Richardson, of course.
No question. This show is all about you guys out there. You in our Discord over at fantasypoints.com. You're on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/fantasypoints. You're asking us questions. This is a huge draft weekend. My big home draft, the one I care about the most, John, the alcoholic haze. I am the commissioner. It is literally, you have the ACI, the most important draft in America. That comes down on Thursday morning.
No, tomorrow
Wednesday
morning.
Wednesday
Tomorrow
morning, excuse me.
Yeah.
So as you folks are listening to this in podcast form, John is on the air on SiriusXM making selections in a 14-team league. That's exciting. Looking forward to it. But everyone's got their home league that they care about. And that's what we're here to do, is to help answer some of the questions that is on every single person's mind. Let's start out with our guy, Tom. Tom asked, 12-man PPR keeper league. I kept Jonathan Taylor. Okay. Ramondre and Javonte. So he's set at running back. I have the third pick in the first round. So, of course, 36 guys are gone. Everyone's got 3 keepers. Best available RBs would be Gibbs or Aaron Jones, assuming Bijan goes number 1. And he followed it up with all 3 QBs are gone. Best available wide receivers, Debo, Ridley, Keenan, Amari Cooper. How would you build your team from this? Seems like he's already pretty loaded at running back at this time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I mean, I'd have to look at Ridley here and presume that we're locked in. We're going to be here for a while. They brought him in, a little bit of a reclamation project going very well. Debo, there's a potential out in his contract after this year, which I think is why he's the momentum is good for him this year. Wasn't good last year, but they've got to do something about Ayuk. They picked up the 5th-year option, but I think they might be inclined to pay Ayuk a nice contract, post-rookie contract. They've already done that with Debo. So there is a chance that Debo gets squeezed out of here. Keenan Allen, of course, is year to year at this point. And then Cooper is going to be off the Browns too. He's going to be pinched, and it'll be Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman. So it's got to be Ridley.
I love Ridley this year. I actually just wrote a column where I talked about guys that I'm shying away from at cost. Debo Samuel was on that list. If you're not going to use him in the same role that you did 2 years ago, running the football, he's not worth it. And also, his ADOT was sliced in half. It went from like 8.4 to 4.2. So it's just,
true.
What are you going to do? You got to find
somebody.
I
still like him though. I hear you, but that's a big part of it for sure. But you know what? I do like Debo being more motivated this year, slimmer, trimmer, all that. That does bode well.
Our pal Justin on YouTube asks, if you miss out on the top 7 or 8 quarterbacks, are you better off waiting and doing a combo of, say, Daniel Jones and your boy Kenny Pickett, Jordan Love, Russell Wilson, etc.? On the fantasy points projection cheat sheet, which I have in front of me, if you get past 8, 9, that's when you get past Fields and Watson. So now you're in that Daniel Jones, Richardson, Kirky territory. What do you think? You want to double up there if you miss out on the top 8?
Well, let's hope that there's no one watching this in the ACI draft, because if you are and you take my guy tomorrow morning, I will be pissed. I will block you. I'll mute your ass on Twitter, which I refuse to call the new name. But I'm kidding, but not kidding. The answer is Daniel Dimes. I am really feeling him in a 14-team league, but also in a 12, because, I've noticed this year it's kind of settled in now. Like, there is a massive drop off in the overall talent on the board, right around 95, 100. Well, guess who's going off the board at that point? So while I'm into some other quarterbacks this year, I'm really to get the most optimal starting lineup, Danny Dimes. When everyone, especially if you can get him somehow as the 12th quarterback, maybe you can wait a round or 2. If everyone else has their starter, boy, that is a slam dunk ROI.
And I saw Sterling Shepard made the team this year. That guy just won't die.
And then get my guy Kenny Pickett, by the way, in round 14. You're good.
If you look at the weapons Kenny Pickett has at his disposal, holy smokes. Not only does he now have 2 really good running backs, they tried to upgrade the offensive line. They brought Sayamalo in from Philadelphia. But, I mean, Deontay. Okay. Am I back? You got my mic here, Guru?
Yeah, no, I got you. I think
Oh,
you
now
went out
he's
there.
now I can't hear John. What has happened to my settings?
Oh wow, I have no idea. You're not getting me. All right, hold
Let's
on.
see. How are we doing? Are you back? I got you.
I can hear you.
I can hear
Bumpity bop.
you. I
Okay. All right. All
Yeah.
right.
I was
Whew.
banging the table. See, that's what happens here is I was banging the
Oh.
table for Mr.
Mm,
Kenny Pickett because I think his weapons are that good. When you look at Deontay
yeah.
Johnson, who just had bad luck last year with scoring touchdowns. So you know what's going to
Mhm.
happen in these home leagues this weekend? Every guy out there is going to go, you know what? He didn't score a touchdown for me last year. Screw Deontay Johnson. I'm not taking him. Just like a year
Yeah.
ago, they remembered Miles Sanders didn't score any touchdowns. They didn't want him, and then Miles Sanders has a huge year. But the weapons for your boy Pickett are out of control.
Out of control. Out of control. And Calvin Austin is definitely part of that. I mean, I've been pumping that kid up from day one. All he did was catch a 67-yard touchdown on his first target in the NFL. I mean, it's ridiculous. Patty Fryermuth looking great. Darnell Washington, our guy Kaplan is telling us some really good things about what he's hearing there. I mean, it's ridiculous. Their line is actually good now with depth. I mean, it is absurd.
Let me ask this. We were talking about tight ends here, and you mentioned Darnell Washington. There's other guys, Sam Laporta, Luke Musgrave. It's kind of the year of the rookie tight end. Do you think this is an outlier season where we finally get some legitimate production from rookie tight ends and you can count on them in a 12-team league?
No, I'm just gonna go no because I want to be right. And if I'd have said no to that question like the last 14 years, I'd be right. So no, we're probably still screwed. You know, every year though, I am optimistic
Mm-hmm.
for several players, but once we get past the top 10, it is a complete hodgepodge kind of dart throw. It's already dart throw city after Pat Fryermuth at like 10. I mean, yeah, it totally is. So it's just frustrating. So many of these guys will underwhelm. You know, Tyler Higbee, Dalton Schultz, Dulcich, Chiggy, Gerald
Mm-hmm.
Everett, the aforementioned Laporta. I mean, more than half of these guys will underwhelm. But here's really the problem. It's not that they won't suck. They'll be all right. They just won't move the damn needle, you know, as the production is divvied up among more and more players. Like you have these guys, they're good, but you can't rely on them and they're not moving the needle. And that's probably going to be the case again here at tight end.
Yeah, I like a guy like Luke Musgraves in the preseason, 24% target share from the snaps he had with Jordan Love. And Musgrave ran the second most routes with the starters, only behind Christian Watson. So if you're looking late, maybe you want a second guy this weekend, take a look at my guy, Luke Musgrave. Okay, question here. Justin, don't call him John Hansen. I don't know if he's a long lost relative or not. Maybe one of your sons.
Mhm.
12-team keeper league, half point PPR, keeper options. Ken Walker in the 7th, Rashad White in the 10th. Can only keep one. I mean, if there's ever a John Hansen question, Jesus Christ, it's
Yeah.
this one right here.
Well, and Justin is one of the ONs. So full disclosure, and the ONs, the ENs, we don't get along all that well. I mean, we are kind of the same people, so we should, you know, be singing "Kumbaya." But there's some conflict there, some tension, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I mean, it's close. Ken Walker more talented, Rashad White more reliable. Ken Walker better situation. Rashad White, less competition. Um, Rashad White, cheaper though. So I'm going to go White, who's
Yeah.
like what, 18% cheaper. So I'm going to go White there. I mean, you know, with Rashad, Brian, I mean, I've literally tried with every ounce of energy I have to suppress Rashad White's ranking because I know it is out of control where it's like way over the market. And yet he just still comes up high. I mean, I know they lost Ryan Jensen. Here's what I'm giving him. Rushing, by the way. 14 carries a game for like 54 yards. Like 3.6 yards a carry is what I'm giving him. A touchdown every 3 weeks. I mean, is that too hard to ask?
Yeah.
59 catches. The guy caught 50 as a backup last year. I know we're losing the GOAT, and Baker could suck as he's been sucking, but Baker's been okay. Hey, maybe Dave Canales is the shit. You know what I mean? Like when
He
I
helped
talked to
Gino
Rashad
last year a ton.
Yeah, exactly. When I talked to Rashad, I'm telling you, for 20 minutes in June, he was like, he loved Dave Canales. So yeah, let's go Rashad.
And if you want a late sleeper, folks, my boy out of Syracuse, Sean Tucker, don't forget about him. Kid was an All-American at Syracuse, ran for 1,000 yards 2 years in a row on a dog shit team.
You know what? You want to hear a crazy name that came to me watching his highlights? And people are going to think I've literally lost it, but there were a couple of plays when Sean Tucker got to the perimeter and got a full head of steam going.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's kind of like Bo Jackson.
Whoa.
I know that sounds absurd, but in terms of a big man who could sprint, right? Am I right?
Hey, you know what? It's going to be those guys who draft Rachaad White, and then if they start splitting this backfield, they're going to be screaming, Sean Tucker must die, like the old 90s movie. But
well, yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, you can't be worried about, Sean Tucker is getting first team reps. What are they going to give Rachaad 360 carries?
Exactly. That happens so much in the NFL where fantasy guys go crazy because they go, this guy's getting some carries here and this guy's sharing here. Like, no crap. That's what the NFL does. Nobody outside of Saquon Barkley, basically, or Derrick Henry, nobody gets every carry. And even those guys get spelled, so they're going to give people other touches. Let me dive into our Fantasy Points Discord. A lot of respect for the folks over there. Love our subscribers.
What's a promo code? I see NTUBJR is looking for a promo code.
If you want a promo code at Fantasy Points, how about 23 F Points 5? Joe Dolan couldn't have made that any more difficult for me when I asked, but 23 F Points 5. If you want a promo for fantasypoints.com. Hey, I'm a subscriber. I was a subscriber before I worked for the site, folks. So I'm not just spitting the company line here. And John knows for a fact, I've been riding with him forever. Go get that cheat sheet this weekend. The top 200, there's tiers. It's broken down by each position. I printed it out. I use it in a 14-team industry draft in Canton, Ohio. Every other nerd's got their laptop open, looking up everything. Me, nope. Just checking off names on the cheat sheet, baby. That's the way
I have done the calculation, by the way. You have bought me personally like 964 beers. So thank you.
Yeah, I might have to share one with you here in a few minutes. Our buddy Brandon in the Discord asks, John, is the recent news out of Arizona turned you off to James Conner? I was planning on drafting Gabe Davis and Conner with my first 2 picks in a 16-team keeper league, but I might need to pivot from Conner to David Montgomery or Elijah Moore. So he's got some other keepers here, but the overarching point here, I mean, the vibes, and you're Mr. Vibes, couldn't be any worse in Arizona. I mean, they're rolling a high school team out there in 2 weeks.
I mean, start of the month, I was actually thinking, you know what? Very low key. It's actually not bad. Kyler seemed to be in good spirits and things like that. I like Michael Wilson a lot. Trey McBride, I definitely still like, even like Clayton Tune. But then I did that podcast here on our YouTube page with Adam Schefter, and I'm like, yeah, I think Kyler 150 picks into the draft. Why not? He's like, oh, no. I'm like, whoa. And well, yeah. And then so I'm like, oh, you think the collapse for Caleb basically is in full effect? And he was like, yes, basically. Watch the video. It's on our YouTube page. So yeah, at that point, I'm like, all right, screw it. Adam and I do compare notes a lot. So I have a way of squeezing out good info, not in this case, but other cases from him, because sometimes real close to the season, he doesn't want to give out his edge, but we do compare notes a lot. So I get good tips without getting the tips, if you will. But yeah, to answer the question, I am not feeling good at all about the Cardinals. Now, the player that was mentioned there, not Moore. Who the hell was it?
He was going to take
Montgomery. I am.
They only have
What?
2 running backs on the roster, mind you, right now. Today was cut down day, depending on when you're listening to this.
I
Gibbs
love
and Monty.
Montgomery.
That's it.
I can't believe this because I've kind of made fun of him a little bit, but Stonewall Montgomery, a very victorious returning Civil War soldier. But yeah, no, I mean, he won't be Stonewall behind that old line, baby. So yeah, I love Montgomery this year.
That's going to be a pick that is made in so many home leagues, and guys are like, I mean, right now I got the Fantasy Pros consent 7 off the board, coming off his player 77.
Man,
That's a value. Some of the guys, and that's the range: Montgomery, Javante, Rashad White. It's a lot of guru guys over here in that range. If you want to draft some receivers early,
sucks you can't get them all though, doesn't it?
Well, maybe you could if you did an auction league, and we have an auction
dumb league. We're a bunch of dum-dums out there, and we know we're loaded with that here in America.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to be in one of those. Oh yeah, give me Sky Moore in the 12th.
Well, maybe in an auction league, you can get those guys. And if you folks have an auction league coming up, we did a kick-ass podcast. It's up on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Myself, Joe Dolan, and my pal Drew Davenport breaking down all things auction strategy, tiers, par sheets, you name it. If you got an auction, go look it up on the Fantasy Points YouTube or podcast feed. It's really phenomenal. We have great feedback from it. Anthony asks, guys, in an auction draft, considering the rest of the roster is equal, would you rather have Chase and Diggs along with 2 running backs of Rashad and Connor, or a duo of McCaffrey and Chubb with 2 guys like Godwin and Gabe Davis? So, I mean, there's a lot going on here.
The second one. Yeah.
Yeah. So McCaffrey and Chubb, you can roll with them. Whoo, doggy.
And, I'm in on Gabe again. I don't love Godwin, but I generally love Godwin. Remember Chriswin, that year? That was 4 years ago already, but I love me some Chris Godwin.
Yeah, that's going to be another year. That's a guy nobody wants to draft. Bad team, bad quarterback.
I mean, can Baker just not suck is the question. I'm not, I feel like he won't, but I kind of liked him last year to not suck, and he was ass. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man.
How about this? We got a guy in a slow draft who's on the clock messaging us.
Tick.
Esteban asks, slow draft and I'm on the clock, 10-teamer, half-point PPR. We got to find you 2 more friends here. Make this a 12er. 2nd round, 18th pick overall. I already drafted Jamar Chase, so wow, that nice deal on him. I hate all my options at this point. Henry, Josh Jacobs, Najee. At receiver, Higgins, Waddle, Olave, best available. Who are you taking here? I don't hate Josh Jacobs here necessarily.
No, I mean, 10-teamer, you're just looking for the highest impact guy, I think. I mean, that's probably not T. Higgins, might not be Waddle. You already have Chase, so you've got a 1 there, obviously. Yeah, I'd say Henry or Jacobs.
Yeah.
I might actually go Henry. Simply because
what do you think about him this year? I mean, their offensive line is terrible.
That is true. That is very true. But I just love Tajay Spears. I really do. I do feel better about Henry because of that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I do worry about the Raiders being a train wreck, but Josh Jacobs, he's a professional. He is still motivated contractually for a bigger deal. So yeah, I would go Jacobs.
So we mentioned early in the show about Jonathan Taylor. If you missed that, go back and listen. But here's another question on JT. Interesting take on it here. And I bet a lot of you are going to have this option this weekend. Thoughts on taking Jonathan Taylor in the 3rd or 4th in a league with the intent of having him as a keeper for next year in that round? Plus, you can stash him on IR for the first 4 weeks. See, know your rules. That's a big thing with fantasy football and beating your friends' asses. What do you think about this? Taking JT, maybe knowing you can stash him next year and get him cheap.
I'll say this because, again, I've had this weird vibe on this. I've discussed this on the podcast and on the air and whatever. We saw Le'Veon Bell take a year off and get destroyed. forget that comp because Jonathan Taylor is different. So what I'm trying to say is if there's any running back out there who could maybe take a stand for labor, and say, you know what, F you, I'm going to sit out 2 years. If there's any current running back who could pull that off and ball out at 32 or 8 years from now, that's Jonathan Taylor. So I would maybe long term feel good about his prospects of holding value for, 6 years, 5 years,
Still a young
maybe
guy.
longer.
Our buddy Brad's got a question also about JT. 12-team PPR. Trade away Dalvin Cook and an 8th rounder and receive Jonathan Taylor in a 16th round pick.
What? Playoffs?
Stop watching this show and go accept that.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Dalvin Cook is cooked. He's going to be cooked by season's end. It'll, I think, be fairly evident that he's cooked.
Yeah, and if you've got other guys out there who you think may get injured or they're often injured, well, our buddy Edwin Porras, who is a legit doctor, mind you, working at fantasypoints.com, he's got an injury guide. I want you guys to go check it out. It's called the Injury Prone Draft Guide and Playbook. It's a great resource. I'm going to put the link here in the show notes, but if you want to go check it out, also, it is injuryproneguide.myshopify.com. Use code injurypro25 for 25% off. This guy's got player profiles. He's going through players with legit history.
Very ironical name, though, which I love.
Yes.
Because he does not believe that people are injury prone.
Yeah,
and I love Edwin Porras. I mean, he is an exceptional dude. However, that does not take away, or that does not remove from the realm of truth that there are players who are prone to injury.
Could be.
It's a semantical issue, but to say injury prone isn't a thing, and then also admit that, yeah, some guys are prone to injury. I mean, the fact that that there are players who get hurt a lot, like that is a fact. So some players are prone to injury, right?
How about a couple guys with DNA that don't get hurt? Look at the Kelsey brothers. Those two guys have been playing in the NFL they never get hurt. Knock on wood here, as I'm an Eagles fan.
Pristine DNA. They should, I once had Chris Cooley come on the set live at the Radio Row on the Super Bowl 10 years ago. He was out of the league by this point. So I'm like, oh, what are you doing, man? What are you promoting? He's like, I'm selling my sperm. I'm like, that's a good call. You know what I mean? You played in the NFL.
Man. I'm looking for a side gig right now. I'm hitting him up and see if he needs a partner. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Talking about tight ends, our boy Jay Roscoe asks, if you draft Waller, who would you draft as a second tight end? Freiermuth, Juwan Johnson, Chiggy? I mean, that's a good call, because if you draft Waller, you're going to spend a premium pick on him. Probably at this point, top 5-6 round pick on Darren Waller in a 12-team draft.
Right.
You're going to want to back him up because the guy can't stay healthy. You talk about injury prone. Darren Waller should be on the cover of the damn magazine.
Yeah. Well, if you do, then you're clearly looking for ballers and you're looking to be aggressive. So the answer is Juwan Johnson.
And Juwan Johnson, you can get him late.
Yeah, real late. Now, if you want to hold on, maybe you get sniped, you might need to go boring and get Jake Ferguson.
Oh,
it's boring. But here's the other one.
Boring name too.
Here's the other one. Tyler Conklin.
Someone's got to catch the ball from Rodgers.
I mean, he needs a little bit of planetary alignment, but it could easily come. We were way over his ADP last year, and he crushed that ADP, by the way. Would have done a lot better if they had competent quarterback play. I could tell you that. So, yeah, believe me, I make it a point to be over the ADP of the players who really are looking good. And
Mhm.
that's it. And I feel like we are always, 90% of the time, I feel like we are over the ADPs of guys with good momentum. Now, it always doesn't work out when the results are in because of injuries, but like, I mean, I feel like we're usually on the right track with ADPs, and that there's another guy where like we've been way out in front. Like his ADP was like tight end 46 like 3 months ago, like, and we had him at like 32 or whatever. Now he's 26.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson moving up on the latest PPR cheat sheet. He's tight end 20.
Oh, I mean, that's ridiculous. Like I've been talking up Ferguson since last year. We were, again. Yeah, I hate when the ADP catches up to us, though.
Well, talking about ADP, my buddy Corey Richmond asks, in a 14-team half PPR, he's drafting 4th, expecting Jefferson, Chase, CMC off the board. Who do you take at 4? Kelsey will be there, obviously. Tyreek, Eckler. For me, man, I mean, you look at the numbers Tyreek Hill puts up. That guy is just a freaking monster. He's got wide receiver 1 in his range of outcomes.
No question. And I mean, I really don't want to say anything negative about Eckler because not a guy that I've been on, as I've explained over the years. I've kind of undersold him more often than not. And that's because he's a freaking outlier and there's nobody else like him. So I mean, to this point, I'm like, all right, I give up, Eckler. My bad, dog. You know what I mean? That said, like every time I go through and do it, I don't like the squad when I get him that early. So I'm gonna go. I don't think you could go wrong with Kelsey or Hill, but I'd probably go Hill just because I am just so into getting that tight end sleeper. That's kind of been my specialty over the years. Mm-hmm. So, and Kelsey was one of them for a number of years, 10 years ago. But yeah, I think I'd go Hill.
Question here from our pal Brandon Jackson on YouTube. Given Hackett's usage of running backs in Green Bay and then Denver, and he was also here in Syracuse with me for a while, with split backfields, why is Breece Hall a 4th-round pick? I want to believe. So, of course, now Hackett, of course, running the New York Jets, and they've added Dalvin Cook, who is back. He's healthy. He had a kid the other day. It's a miraculous thing, John. All these players that we haven't had practicing all camp, now that we're really into like game week, hey, they're back. We're ready to play.
Who knew?
Imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly a fair point. Hackett, certainly the offense was fine for Aaron Jones. I mean, I bet you if you go back and you compare Aaron Jones's ADP to his actual output under Hackett, I bet you it was good. So that's one. But I guess the answer is simply this: bet on talent. And look, we got burned last year with Javonte because they were idiots. I actually said at the time, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like there's a chance that their dumb utilization and rotation was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen. I said it at the time. Causing injury, basically, because you're out there pressing like, oh, I got to make the most of every damn touch. But at the end of the day, I just can't get past the talent thing. Like my dog, Wrigley, could coach up Breece Hall and he'd probably still be top 20. You know what I mean? He's that good. So I just can't get past the talent.
Flying the W, little Wrigley over there. How about shout out to our boy Dan Brown in the chat there? Said looking good, guys. Is. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you, brother.
Hashtag score more.
Yeah.
Exactly. Dan butt dialed me the other day. So
oh really?
Yeah. I'm sure I'll return the favor at some point.
Just hammered in a bar somewhere. I love when that happens. And you can just hear people for like 10 minutes. You're like, I'm just gonna sit here and listen to this. Maybe they're talking smack about me.
Yeah, exactly. That's why anything I say, I'm like, I don't care if everyone hears it. Let's just go with that.
You know? I love it. I am a big wrestling guy, and I listen to like Jim Ross, who, if you guys are wrestling fans, you know the voice of wrestling, Jim Ross. He's gotten to a point on his podcast. His give a crap meter is definitely busted. He doesn't care about anything. I feel like you're there with him now. You get to a point where you just go, I don't care.
Exactly. I mean, that's the only good thing about getting old, man. I turned 55 years old. Literally, I'm the exact same guy as I was in 1998, Randy Moss's rookie year when I turned 30. Like, literally the exact same person. I'm the exact same person from when I was 18 years old, honestly, but haven't changed at all. But at this point, the numbers getting up there and all that. So I'm like, okay, guess what? Full DGAF, full DGAF. Do not
Exactly.
care. Call me old. Don't give a shit. What are you going to make fun of me for not dying? Screw you. You know what I mean? Full DGAF, baby. It's very liberating, and it opens up passages of your brain that give you insight into things that you might not have seen because, again, you're in full DGAF. Do not give a shit. Want to do well, but it's all the ancillary concerns. Yeah, don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I want to do good at one thing, my job. That's it. Otherwise, whatever, don't care.
In our chat here, Melvin Gordon and Kyle Pitts have been merged together to make Melvin Pitts, who asks us the next question. Will you drop Kenny Gainwell or Rashad Penny for Laporta? So he's looking for that upside at tight end, the young tight end in Detroit. You got Gainwell, he's going to be that hurry up 2-minute back in Philly. Penny, we don't know, grinder, but
Trey Sermon got cut, so that Penny made it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's on the waiver wire. Like, who's going to be on the wire going into week 1? That's a good question. Like, is it Skank? Is it complete ass? Is it like Parker Hesse? You know what I mean? Like, what? I don't know. I mean, Laporta should be like, all goes well, third option in the passing game, but
yeah,
it's gone pretty well. I mean, I don't know if he's a must-have. I'm probably not inclined to do that based on those other guys that we're having to drop.
Here's what you do. Depending on what league you play in, you add Laporta. You're probably not going to start him if he's still sitting on the waiver wire. He plays in that Thursday opener game. You see what he does. If he does nothing, you just drop his ass Thursday after the game, and you scoop back up Penny or Gainwell, because before the season, maybe a lot of guys aren't working the waiver wire. So see,
can you do that though? I mean,
there's leagues you can. Yahoo, you can do it for sure. We've been doing that for years.
Don't you get C blocked though on Yahoo after you drop that spot? Like, like you're screwed for that week.
There's a move, because we almost have had to outlaw it in my Yahoo league, where what guys do is they'll go in and they'll pick up a handcuff running back for the Thursday game. He does nothing. Boom. They drop him right after the game. Pick up a guy for the 1:00 Sunday game. Nothing.
That's
4:00
bullshit.
game.
That's bullshit.
It happened the whole day. It goes on. People hate it because us losers who are just sitting there with our phone in our hand are just adding and dropping. Oh, Sunday night game's going on.
Spend time with your family, people.
Nah. What would you rather do? Hang out with the kids or win your fantasy league? We all know the answer to that. Come on. Let's be honest. We want to win that goddamn league.
Love you, kids.
All right, let's see here.
Love you.
Carlos, it looks mean. It looks like a rap album cover in his YouTube thumbnail here. That's good artwork. Guru, I've got Akers and Miles Sanders as my 1 and 2 running back spot. Should I be worried in a PPR? He's got Tua, Danny Dimes, Waller.
Ooh.
He's got some good receivers here. I mean, that's what he did. He went early on Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra, and that's what's going to happen. If you go receiver early and then you decide to take Waller in the top 5 rounds, your running backs are going to be guys like Akers and Sanders.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like Carlos, who, by the way, like, he's just subscribing to the, like, I don't smile in photos thing.
He would kick my ass.
I did not start smiling in photos until like maybe 2000, because before that, when I was like a young punk, I'm like, yeah, I'm smiling. That's it. So it's what you get. Anyway, smile is a sign of weakness now. Yeah, it feels like Carlos did he fall asleep for a round? Did he forget round 6 a little bit? Like, or how big is this league? Is this 14 teamer?
I don't know.
I mean, look, at the very least, you have 2 bell cows, so it's not that bad. It's just they're not. I'm okay with Akers. I don't really like Miles Sanders. I could be wrong though. That's the thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I just feel like
2 guys on 2 terrible teams.
Maybe if Carlos had like a really good third. Godwin could be really good. I mean, maybe there's a DJ. Oh, there it is. Higgins. I didn't even see Higgins. Okay, there it is. Okay, yeah, you're fine. You are almost unbalanced though, a little too loaded a receiver actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might be looking to move DJ Moore off that
Right.
squad. You play the
Exactly.
hype from the preseason, or make a pre-week 1 trade
Yeah.
and see if you can
Yeah,
move
because I
DJ
think
Moore.
Justin Fields stinks.
Yeah, let me see. So, who would I move? If you could move DJ Moore, I'm sure you could get. I don't know. Could you get Joe Mixon? Maybe.
Maybe a little bit of a package like Miles Sanders and DJ Moore for something real nice. At that point, I mean that's a lot,
Yeah.
but
Go get Tony Pollard.
yeah, Nick Chubb, that'd be great.
Yeah. Either way, the music career will be great. If you want to see a bad photo, by the way, this was a painstaking job over the weekend. So my staff bio photo went up at fantasypoints.com over the weekend. And I had to get the picture to Joe Dolan and Brock and the guys on the back end, right? So I'm taking this selfie myself. Like I'm in my kitchen and I'm taking the picture and I look like
Are you wearing a dress shirt right now though, like a legit dress shirt?
Right now?
Yeah.
In the show. No, I'm wearing an
it's one of those. Okay.
Yeah, I live in these like quarter zip. This is I got this at the
Okay.
PGA Championship at Oak Hill.
Okay.
But the neck pisses me off and it like gets all in my face. But so my wife saw the photo that I posted. It's on like the articles I write, right? She goes, what is this? Why did you not like let me take the photo of you? You're looking an idiot. She's like, you got to redo this photo. So if you ever go to Fantasy Points, go to the staff section. You'll see my terrible photo, and you can make fun of me on Twitter at Drake Fantasy. But
okay, yeah, I'm gonna. Check
I will be
out.
redoing that photo.
My wife and I have a problem. We are incapable of looking our best together in a photo. That's it. Like forever. Like either it's one where I look better than usual and she looks like shit, or
don't tell her that.
It's hard to do. Or vice versa. Yeah, I hear you. I'm gonna go check this out though.
Oh, my picture's terrible. I look like a dope. I'm literally home alone. I comb my hair, put on a polo, standing in front of this like wood wall that I made for the family. It's a whole thing.
I mean, it looks fine. I don't, I can't comment too much.
Not great.
I mean, it looks fine to me. I mean, he looks serious.
There I go. Very serious. If you want to get real serious, go read my defensive streamers article up on the site. Newsflash, just pick Washington week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals. Ryan in the YouTube chat, he wants to talk about the Arizona Cardinals. Hollywood Brown or Zay Flowers. So we got a guy in Arizona here who might not have a quarterback all season. Zay Flowers, boy, he looks good playing in this new look revamped Ravens offense.
Yeah, it'd be one of those deals where like Hollywood Brown will probably be, outproducing him in week 6, and then Zay Flowers will cruise past him in the second half of the season. I mean, I'm going Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers has been my guy from the beginning in this process. So I had him as my number 1 receiver in our pre-draft rankings, and we'll see. Hasn't played a game yet, but so far so good, right? On Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I love him. I had a guy ask me today about Rashad Bateman, and it was like his last roster spot. He's like, I need some more depth at running back. And I go, listen, first of all, when are you ever going to play Rashad Bateman, who can't stay healthy? And at best, Rashad Bateman is the 4th option, maybe worse on his team. You got OBJ, you got Mark Andrews, you got Zay Flowers. Oh, by the way, there's Rashad Bateman, and God forbid Lamar throws it to a running back. So, I mean, I'm not seeing massive upside with Bateman here. I'd rather have Flowers or just anyone else besides Bateman, really.
There's a lot of dudes this year where it's like, oh, he could be good if someone gets hurt. So when we're analyzing them, we're assuming injury, which we don't want to do that, right? I mean, we can do that to an extent, but it's just like Quentin Johnston. Like, if you're taking him at his ADP, you're basically saying like, oh, somebody's getting hurt seriously.
Yeah. Interesting. There's a lot of theories that happen in fantasy football, and our buddy Kevin has a hypothetical question for us. PPR league flex position. Who would you pick? James Cook or Sky Moore? This is an interesting one.
I mean, it depends on my strengths of my team. Certainly, like if I was in dire need, let's say I already had three really good wide receivers I was feeling good about. I mean, the real question is, you've got three wide receivers you feel really good about, and you've got two running backs you feel really good about. Let's say you've got a quarterback, maybe a tight end, it's round 7, 8, whatever. And you're like, okay, now do you pay up for Sky as that fourth receiver / flex, or do you go with the back? That's a tough one. So I would look at it that way, in that I would say Sky is the upside play, and Cook's probably safer, money in the bank, because he's got the role. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of it with running backs. You might go Sky though, because if it all clicks, and cadaverous Tony remains in the body bag, if you will, then Sky could be the upside play.
Yeah. If you guys don't want to be in a body bag with your league mates come this weekend.
Forget about it. In a body bag. Forget about it. So sorry.
Yeah. Get yourself a draft board. I know some of you out there still have a draft coming up and you haven't bought the damn draft board yet. Our pals at fjfantasy.com have you covered. I bought my draft board for my home league from these guys. It literally showed up like 2 days later. If you go to my Twitter feed, I got a link. It'll show you the stickers. The stickers are huge. They got paper, ones you can just tape to the wall. I bought this cardboard monstrosity so guys can see it all the way across this adult establishment we're doing the draft at. Go over there at fjfantasy.com. The code is FantasyPTS10. That's going to save you 10% off your order. Again, fjfantasy.com, FantasyPTS10. Get your ass over there, get a draft board, and make your league mates happy. It's really cool. I bought one myself. All right, let's keep rolling with the questions here while we got the guru at the beach home, the palatial estate here. Jason Schulk asks, what's your feeling about Jaden Reed long-term? Worth holding in a dynasty or worth trying to move? Man, he's already moving from a guy before he's played a game.
Oh, no, I've been high on Jaden Reed from day one. I mean, he was one of my favorite guys. I think I ranked him higher than everyone else. I think I did a video on Jaden Reed pre-draft. No, I love that kid. Watching him at the Senior Bowl. He actually just started lining up in the slot in Mobile at the Senior Bowl practices. Did very, very well. Quick twitch guy, got open. Like, oh yeah, he's totally my type of a guy. So I'm very high on him. I like it. I like all the Green Bay receivers. I like how they all fit together. I cannot wait. I think I'm most interested in Pittsburgh and Green Bay this year for these ascending offenses with young quarterbacks.
Man, we have so many great questions in here. I'm trying to scroll through to get to you folks. Our buddy Dalton asked, Dobbins is $5 in an ESPN auction despite being on top of the depth chart and a good offense. What's the situation? I'm not sure if he's wondering why he got him for $5 or what's the situation with J.K. Dobbins, but I mean, it appears he's back and healthy and done with the holdout, and he's going to start.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is J.K. Dobbins is practicing atop the depth chart from, for all intents and purposes, in the final year of his rookie deal in an offense that we expect to improve, ascend, with no one else added of note. They did keep Keaton Mitchell out of East Carolina over Mel Gordon. He's gone. Justice Hill is merely a changeup. So, JK is looking good. Real low key right now. He's just not getting a lot of love, but it's a long season. I mean, Brian, would you be surprised at all if by Halloween, freaking JK's balling and gunning for a new contract?
It wouldn't surprise me because what this team's going to do now also, if they're playing a ton of 11 and they're spreading the field, before you never had to spread the field on the Ravens. Now you got to defend them vertically. You got to defend them horizontally. It's only going to open up more lanes for J.K. Dobbins and down the seam for Mark Andrews, because now you actually have weapons on the outside and Beckham, Flowers, the aforementioned Bateman, who can, challenge a defense. So it should open things up. So, yeah, J.K. could have a really good year. I love this guy's name.
Charlie Kohler balling as well, man. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, things are looking up here. I just hope that the knee holds up for Mr. Lamar. I talked to a friend of mine who is in the medical field and told me Lamar doesn't take too well to surgery, and
Oh
might want
yeah,
to let
I'm not
things heal.
drafting Lamar. He's not on my list. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
the
be
rest of the
careful.
staff like him where we have him priced at the market. He's not on my list.
Scan my pics and video transfer services. Yes, that's his real name. Asks. I love it. It's probably the guy's like business, but he's such a degenerate that he's like, all right, guys, I got to get in here. I'm closing the shop. But here's my question.
Let's talk about
Drafting,
these picks. Let's talk about these picks. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
yeah, well, you got any good stuff to throw our way? Let us know. Slide in the DMs.
Let's take a look.
He's drafting 5th in a 10-man, 2-quarterback league. So that's the important part here. 2 QB league. Would you go QB early or best wide receiver running back available? So likely CMC or Jefferson or one of these guys is going to be available because you know how it goes, John. Everyone just takes a quarterback in the first. That's why I hate 2 QB leagues, to be honest. It kind of just makes it, hey, everyone just draft a quarterback in the first round, and then we'll start the draft.
Now, I'll ask you, let's say you're in this spot. It's a 10-team league. You're in the 5-hole, 4 picks off the board, and only one of them is a quarterback. Are you like, okay, maybe I don't go quarterback in round 1 there?
I'm in a 10-team league. I mean, you could come back in the second round and get really good quarterback.
Yeah, you're right.
If I can get the best player on the board.
I will say this, though. What if you get hosed? Because I say do it. I thought about it. Do it. I say just get the quarterback. Because, in a 10-team league, like, you better have a needle-moving QB1, right?
I see what you were saying before, too. If, let's say people take position players beforehand, and then it's like, oh man, I got a chance to take, Hurts or Allen or Mahomes or one of these guys. At worst, I mean, let's see here. You're picking 5th. The worst player at quarterback that's going to fall to you is like Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson. So you're going to have your chance at one of those guys.
So if you pass on the quarterback there, in theory, I mean, there's a chance you don't even get freaking Daniel Jones in round 2. In theory, right?
It could happen. Could happen.
Absolutely,
let us know.
Could happen.
So. Send us the results and some fun photos. We'll appreciate it.
So the answer is when in doubt and you just don't know in a 2 quarterback, just get the quarterback.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Our buddy Kendall asks, in a 10-team home league, should I reach on Mark Andrews at the 303 instead of getting some of the various running backs and wide receivers going in that range?
That's a great question. I thought all off season that I would be into Mandrews at a dip in price because I thought last year he was too expensive and he was not on my list. But, there are some instances where I'm sure it's the optimal pick, in this spot is right around there. I've gone through it a bunch of times. I will tell you, I don't like it. I would go with a wide receiver there. I'm not sure who you got in round 1 though, or 2. But I would rather come out of round 3 with 2 good wideouts and 1 running back than Mandrews. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think this year you could just wait, get the other players, just draft Darren Waller. I think
exactly.
This year.
Because, boy, I mean, Mandrews has got to lose something here in terms of the target share.
Yeah.
You'd
think. I mean, they've got Zay Flowers he spent a pick on. Odell Beckham they're paying, $15 million for. So there's a lot going on here. All right, we'll wrap it up. We got a few more here, a few minutes with the guru. He's got the big ACI draft coming up. That's always just pure hell because everybody in the draft.
I think we lost you again. I think maybe
I might have to pull the Tom Brawley and go get a new computer here, Guru.
No, there you go. Now you're back.
I know. I don't know what
it's like you hit something. It's like you hit something.
I'm thinking of moving my current setup here. I'm in my bar man cave in the basement. Anybody who's seen any of my shows, and I'm thinking of taking over the old kids' playroom and turning it into just a full-on office / podcast center. That might be the best thing for me to do, because then I can just go crazy all day long in there. But either way, let me see if I can find one last thing for you. All right, our buddy Jay Money. Look at Jay Money's photo there. This guy's killing it out there. Drafting 5th in a 10-team 2QB league. A lot of 2QB leagues out there. He has the same sort of thing. Would you go QB early or running back, receiver, whoever's available? Barkley, Henry, Mahomes, kind of the same thing. So we kind of answered that question.
Yeah. I mean, I assume it's a startup, right? I mean, so certainly check out what happens with the first 4 picks. But unless you get 0 quarterbacks off the board the first 4, I got to go safe there and just don't overthink it. Get Burrow or Herbert.
Let's see. All right, I found a question here. Buddy Casey Blankenship. Casey asks, 12-team PPR keeper for this year only. 6th pick in the draft. JJ, he took JJ in the first, Kelsey in the second, Brees in the 5th, or Ken Walker in the 10th. So we can only keep one of those guys. Which guy are you going to keep? I mean, at the 6th overall, essentially you could get Justin Jefferson for the 6th overall pick in the draft.
Yeah. Boy. Man, I mean, do you even consider Kelsey? Because Kelsey, you could argue, is the best value who's healthy. But he's also 34, Then again, you're only keeping one, right?
And you're going to get, so you can keep Kelsey in the 2nd, which is awesome, but there's going to be 11 other keepers kept in this league. So, I mean, someone else is going to draft. You're going to have the 6th overall pick. You're going to throw Justin Jefferson back. Someone's obviously going to draft him. So it depends, out of the 11 players kept, are you really getting that much value in the first round? Are you getting a first round talent, really?
What do you propose then?
I'm saying you're going to get Justin Jefferson. If his pick is 6th overall, you can keep Justin Jefferson in the first round. I mean, he's going number 1 in most every draft in America. I would just keep him.
Yeah. The only thing that gives you pause is, Kelsey's ADP is like 3 picks after Jefferson, and he costs only a 2nd rounder.
And then, it just depends. We don't know who you're going to get there in the first round, but it's Kelsey and anybody, so it's not that.
What about, let's say it's Bijan?
Ooh. How early would you draft Bijan this year?
Huh?
How early are you drafting Bijan this year? Half-point PPR league.
9, 10.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I ask as the guy with the 9th pick in his home league draft on Saturday, but just, Well,
I've got the 10th pick in the ACI tomorrow morning, so, I mean, he could.
Who do you think's going to fall to you?
I have no idea, man. I'm sure I'll get screwed, pinched in some way, shape, or form, but I feel like I should get Steph Diggs, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra. I mean, I got to get one of those.
Nobody wants to draft Amon-Ra, and all he's going to do is put up, top 5 numbers all season long. I hope he puts on a freaking show opening night against Kansas City, and everyone's like, "Oh, I got him in the 2nd round. You fools didn't want to draft him." But
he'll probably catch 9 in that game.
Well, it's going to be a shootout. I can't wait. And then you go and you trade him for Justin Jefferson 5 minutes later, and everybody watches it. Oh, man. Right. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed our preseason look at picking the Guru's brain. Ask Guru anything. Make sure you go over to that YouTube channel, youtube.com/fantasypoints. It's a free sign up. Just click it. You're going to get access to all our great videos from every amazing contributor at fantasypoints.com. And get over to fantasypoints.com. What are you doing if you haven't signed up already? The best in the business: projections, cheat sheets, DFS optimizers. Oh, by the way, Fantasy Points data, the most industry-changing application that's ever come out. And you can get that at fantasypoints.com. If you need a code, save a few bucks, 23F 8.5. Just a little tip from your boy Drake there as you go over and get ready to dominate your drafts. So, Guru, you ready to head off into draft sunset here, the final big weekend of fantasy drafts?
Yeah, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. I feel good about our takes, my positions. I do, though, sense some chaos on the horizon, some unpredictable stuff that no one could ever get right. So buckle up. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, not to prolong this show, but there's a lot of teams out there that have like 2, 3 running backs out there. Detroit's got 2. Dallas only has 3. What is the Patriot? I don't think anybody plays for the Patriots anymore. Fournette, Kareem Hunt. These guys are going to sign this week with somebody and screw up the backfield.
It's going to be pretty chaotic at running back. Even though the depth is better than usual, there's just a lot of open-ended questions there. And then, once we get past the top 100 players, it's like just make the best dart throws as you can because it's very top heavy. I do a 200 cheat sheet. First 100 players, really desirable. Next 100 players, whatever. Like they're all the same almost. So let's get those early picks right.
Yes, light a candle, say a prayer, and crack a beer because it's a great draft weekend. Good luck to everybody out there. Thanks, John, for the time. Make sure you follow John on Twitter. Never call it X at @fantasy_guru. Give me a follow at Drake Fantasy. And we'll catch you guys next time for Ask Guru Anything.